Hi, everybody. I'm Sophie Sievers, a writer for Emerson College's all music publication, 5 Cent Sound, and I'm here with Josiah and Seth from the band Greer, and they're zooming all the way from California to talk to me today. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to be here. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thank you for
Awesome.
having us. We're
Yeah.
super stoked to be a part of this. It's sunny in California today.
Great.
Who would have thought?
Pretty rare. So you guys have had a really eventful past month, with your EP release and your tour. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
How does it feel to finally have your EP out in the world?
It's awesome. I'm genuinely okay. On a serious note, yeah, I'm so glad that the EP is finally out. Obviously, I mean, we're all really satisfied, and it seems like
Yeah.
people really like it because
Yeah.
this EP was a lot of new stuff. Like this was really our first real release because everything prior, excluding I think Understand and Stay Clear had been already heard like on acoustic sessions and stuff. Like people already knew it, and even with Understand too, like we toured on it for like throughout the whole country. So this was our first time really like releasing a full EP and no one knowing any of the songs beforehand, and people liked it. So I
Plus,
think
it was
really
a big checkpoint for us because the past year and a half or 2 years or whatever, however long it's been in quarantine or since we released that EP. I guess it's been like a year and a half, huh?
yeah.
It's like we've been struggling so hard to come up with something that we genuinely liked. It was just like a giant writer's block for a long time. I mean, everyone goes through it, especially artists like writing an album or an EP. It's just like we tried over and over again, and we kept failing. We kept making songs we didn't like, and this was just kind of like a big sigh of relief for us. Like especially releasing it was like the most satisfying thing we've done so far for sure, because we kind of wanted to display our growth or something different from what we've been doing. As far like Josiah said, because we kind of did the same songs for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I heard that you guys were getting tired of playing Bittersweet over and over again.
Yeah.
What? So where'd you hear that?
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, yeah.
How was tour then? How was getting back into the groove of touring, even though it was kind of condensed and short? How was that?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
great.
having it kind of condensed and short, like just kind of doing the West Coast was really nice just to kind of go back into it and not just fully go okay, full ass tour, because we haven't played any shows in almost 2 years. It was nice to kind of slide back in with that, and also the Flaming Lips dates we did right before it, which was only 3 shows.
Yeah.
Those 3 shows weren't normal shows because we were opening for the Flaming Lips, so there was a lot of internal pressure that we put on
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's crazy.
But it was nice to kind of have it not a super long tour right off the bat to
It was
kind of ease ourselves back
crazy
in.
how it was our first headline show as well. Because
Mhm.
or not headline shows, sorry. We've done plenty of headline shows, but we haven't really done a headline tour, or we actually haven't done a headline show in a long time. So it was still kind of weird. It definitely was a little bit more intense than we were expecting, because we've been on tour, opening twice for different bands. But seriously, headlining a tour is a whole different animal. It's insane, just constantly doing stuff, and not you're always kind of thinking about ways to solve problems that you're going to have with the shows and stuff like that. That's kind of all on you. There's nothing really to fall back on, so it's a little more rough. It's obviously a lot more responsibility, so I think it was really good for us, especially to grow.
Yeah, we made it through somehow.
In shambles.
It was
Just
good,
kidding. It
though.
was strong. It was good. The last 2 shows were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know that it's a good show when you play it? I know every band has off shows. How when it's over, how do you define it being a good show?
Josiah, what do you think made the Portland show so bad?
Oh, okay, yeah. So here's an example. We played 7 shows on this West Coast date, and literally I think all of them were good, you know, at least, but we played one in Portland and it was just not, it was just, we all like, for some reason, somehow, like all of us were just off that night, like technically, and also it was like a seated show and we never ever play seated shows. But I think in Portland,
It
it's
was
like if
so
it's an
weird.
underage show or something, like it has to be seated. I heard there's like some law for that. Um, so it's a bit strange because also it was like a seated place and it was very big and it wasn't really like sold out by any means. So I think that kind of tripped us up a little bit. And because the crowd wasn't really able to like, it wasn't like a pit, you know,
We
like
were also wearing like full costumes.
yes, we were playing like in full costumes, but we had played the night before in like Seattle, and it was like a smaller club that you could just like see everyone, and it was like very much like everyone just moving in like a pit. Um, so I think it kind of like what constitutes a good show to me is like I think there's like several aspects of like technically were we good, and then like energy wise were we good, because like there's both, and the shows where we hit both of those is like bliss and like awesome. Um, but if we hit either, I'm like really happy, especially when it's just like energy of like our energy is great and the crowd's energy is great. That's what makes me more happy and I think is like more important. Um, but it's nice to be technically on as well.
Yeah, definitely energy like felt super important. Like especially during the end of the tour, I was like, oh yeah, this is really what matters.
Yeah.
But something I also found out, I mean, like everyone has bad shows. Like you cannot go like your life without having a bad show. Like even if you're the greatest band of all time, you're gonna have a terrible show at some point. But it's all about perspective. And if you're playing bad, there's totally a way to turn it into like at least a personally good show. Like I've been telling, all these guys when we play bad shows, when they think we played terrible shows, we come off stage and everyone's super bummed out. You say like, well, if you mess up, that's your opportunity to make something out of it. And maybe you do it on purpose, or maybe it's just time to not focus on playing and
Yeah.
maybe you focus on your energy, or maybe you just like have fun or laugh at yourself, like there's so many ways to come back from a mess up. Like if you fall down on stage by accident, like I did that so many times, but it was fun. Like I had a lot of fun doing it because you can just do whatever you want. You can play around. Like we're headlining the show. It's our show. But even if you're not, like you still have the stage. You still have everyone's attention. You're the masters of your own music, so you can do whatever you want with it. Mistakes don't really matter that much.
That's a
True.
great way of
It's just
looking at it.
about how big of a deal you make it, I think,
Mm.
for yourself.
It's hard like not to think of it as like terrible and world ending,
Yeah.
but like once you kind of understand that it doesn't matter that much, it
Yeah.
is really nice.
I think mostly like when we have a bad show, I'm not even that pressed about it. Like I'm not like, oh fuck, like because I mostly just think it's funny. But it's just more like going out for the encore. I'm like, dude, I'm like, so I don't want to go out for the encore.
Yeah, it's mostly like seeing everyone's faces. Like I'm like, oh, like I know I messed up a bunch there, and like I'm like anticipating seeing some like frowny faces when I get off stage. So seeing everyone bummed out kind of sucks, but
Yeah, but we usually turn it around.
yeah, we do.
You guys have come like a really long way from writing like your first song, Airplane. And it's really like evident in the way that your music has kind of progressed to the point that it is now. And kind of in a way, your listeners have kind of like grown up with you from that first like introducing Greer video posted on Josh's YouTube a long time ago. So how do you think your sound has like really evolved as time has gone by?
I mean, I think sound is just our sound has evolved a lot. Especially since like Aeroplane, and it's come strangely and naturally. But just kind of like I mean, I think naturally, like as we are growing up, because when we all started, Corbin was 16, I was 17, Seth was 17. We were all like youngins, and we're still youngins. But the thing is like when you take these, we've been a band for like 3 years now, this month actually, 3 years. It's like those 3 years between like 17 and 21 or 20, whatever, like are such like crazy formative years of like you figuring out who you are as a person. So they don't feel like 3 years, they feel like 5 years or 6 years. But luckily, I think our sound has evolved so much in that time because of that reason. Like, I think that's a really big reason. It's just because we are genuinely like still trying to find out who we are as people. And naturally that also comes with like who you are as an artist, because, you know, they go hand in hand. And luckily we've aligned on a lot of it, the four of us. So, but I think our sound is going to completely like still change erratically because we are like in these very strange years of figuring out. But I think that's a good thing. Like, I don't really want to stay in one thing forever. But yeah, I think we've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's been strange, our sound. Um, there was a long period of time where we like just couldn't get anything out like with each other because we were all just like in different places, you know. And like it's been like that for a lot of like our time together. Like probably like 2 years, you know, because we realistically like wrote everything in like our first year being a band, and then
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, say we've been a band for 3 years, right? We realistically wrote everything in our first year being a band, and then like our second year, like we didn't really write anything, and it was just kind of like a time of stunted growth.
Yeah.
Um, so like up until quite recently, you know, we've seen kind of like an exponential growth where like our sound has finally started evolving, and that's kind of what the EP is just kind of like this the very start of it. Like it's totally not like what the next like what our sound is going to be forever, you know, but it's like what is a good step in the right direction for us.
Yeah.
um like we're still figuring it out for sure, and there's a lot of different influences that are coming into our lives right now. Like we're all just like we're all more on the same page than we ever have been, though, for some strange reason, even with like such different influences. But we're just kind of figuring out how to combine those, and it takes a lot of work. Like seriously, takes a lot of work. Sometimes it's just impossible to do if you don't put in the effort. Um, but it's definitely possible, and it makes some great outcome. Like we're pretty excited for what's to come.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The songs on Happy People, like you were saying, kind of take like a more angsty and a little more vulnerable take than your previous work. There are like a lot of themes around like mental health and like real life situations within the songs. Do you guys find it like difficult or easy to kind of write about themes that can be so personal and so authentic to your experiences as like actual people?
I mean, like personally, like it's actually easiest to write about that kind of stuff because it's affected my life so heavily. Like I really wanted to do that when first starting Greer. Um, but writing the lyrics was the hardest part. Like it wasn't really the vulnerability. Like I was okay with being vulnerable about it, but I just wasn't as good of a lyricist and couldn't put it into the words that I wanted to at the time. But now that I'm starting to, it feels really good, and it's actually very therapeutic. Like it helps me understand myself a lot more. It helps me understand the way my mental illness works a lot more. And I think it's a really good thing to talk about because just as it's really affected my life, and I'm sure you know all of us too, the four of us, we all kind of have our daily struggles with mental illness as we've had for long periods of time. Um, you know, as people are getting older, especially within our fan base, I hope that this kind of thing is beneficial to talk about.
Yeah. I think it's harder, honestly, for me. I mean, lyrics have been not my friend in the last year. You know that. Like they have been. It's just like I don't know. To me, it's
No.
hard to
You've been
be
good.
vulnerable lyrics wise. It's easier for me to write about some like something that's very like a relationship or something like that that's affecting me rather than like looking inside myself and being like, oh, like, and trying to put that on paper. I think is more difficult. And I've been able to do it at some points, but for me, I think it's more difficult just because as a person, I just tend to internalize like a lot of shit. but it's therapeutic when I'm able to do it. So
Love songs are definitely the easiest to write for sure. That's like why we wrote so many love songs to begin with, because we're
they're just
farting them
easy.
out. Like it was just
Yeah, they're just easy. The song
love
Bittersweet
song after love
means,
song. Bittersweet, Aeroplane.
means nothing. I mean, the other songs have meaning, but Bittersweet, I can tell you genuinely 100% the
Yeah.
lyrics. I have no idea what they
And
mean.
then like Josiah wrote that entire song, and like it was just about some random thing, and then I wrote this bridge that makes no sense to in
That
context to
is
it.
true, but it
Yeah.
sounds good. I mean, I
It
like
it
we.
sounds cool, like lyrically, like rhythmically, the lyrics sound cool, but with context, it literally makes absolutely zero sense. It's
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
BS.
And I'm so cool with that because Bittersweet is just like a fun, loving summer song, you know, for the girls.
Yes.
Yeah.
In lots of interviews, you guys have referred to yourself as like really like up and coming, as in like still discovering your sound. Um, when do you think you'll know? Like, what will be like the pointer to like indicate that you've like found your sound?
Never. We're gonna keep
No,
going forever. I mean,
I have no
that's
idea.
kind of the goal. Like, I think that we're kind of coming closer to like a theme. The theme is the most important part with sound. And just recently, I mean, we're starting to work on some stuff uh, that we feel is a really big step and a big change from what we've been doing, but probably the best step in the right direction for us as artists experimenting with our sound. But the experimentation will never stop. Like we started as simple as we possibly could, and from then on, we're just going to keep getting more and more experimental and trying to grow as much as possible. So, in 50 years, we're going to be a obscure contemporary noise band.
Why
You're gonna
not
be a prog
now?
rock band, man.
Why not now? I mean, we could, but we can't because Greer isn't there yet. It's like human evolution. You don't start out as the humans. You have to go from the monkeys first.
Well,
That was so deep, you guys. Please
honestly,
quote me on that.
I think whenever we're 30, I think we'll know when we're 30. Honestly,
Okay, you know what? Josiah has a great point. I think we'll know when we're 30.
definitely. If we don't know by the time we're 30, donezo. We have to
Uh,
know.
yeah, Paul McCartney told me in a dream I'll know when I'm 30.
Yeah,
Or no,
exactly.
64. He said when I'm
Oh,
64.
okay. No, that's a song. He didn't say. Okay.
No, he said it to me. He said it to me after I watched the Beatles documentary.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh, it's great.
For some reason I feel like I'm not ready yet, but
It's really good. It's not as sad as you think.
What hobbies do you guys have on the side? I know that Seth, you draw, and Josiah, you roller skate, and your Cruella impression. I've heard that before.
my hobbies, yeah.
Dude, Josiah can roller skate. He can roller skate. He can roller skate backwards. He can do all that shit. It's crazy.
I actually can't roller skate backwards. That's the one thing
What?
I've
I
never
thought
bothered.
you did that right in front of my face.
No, that's the one thing I just haven't bothered to learn. I can do
Okay.
everything else,
I got
but
my facts wrong. Josiah can't roller skate backwards.
I can't do a mean Cruella impression though. And watching movies. Actually, I enjoy TV shows a lot more than movies. I think television is so interesting. I would say television is at a point where it would be considered a hobby for me. Like it's not like I'm just watching TV. I'm like watching TV. I just love television. I love series. Reading is not one of my hobbies.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I just read a really good book though. Never
What
mind. Um it's called The Encyclopedia of Hell, Volume 2. It's by it's the author is our main character, our lead role in their Happy People music video. An
Oh,
awesome guy, such an awesome guy.
that's
He's
awesome.
an amazing author. It's a really, really good book. It's kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but like with heaven and hell and demons and angels and stuff. It's great.
It is awesome.
Um, my hobbies include uh, video gaming. I play video games, and I
Fortnite.
also build these robot models.
Oh, that's so
There's Gundam models. I build Gundams. It's my
nice.
hobby on the side. A little
Fortnite.
side hustle. I don't play Fortnite, just
I play Fortnite.
We actually did play Fortnite once together, and it sucked. Just that
Oh,
was
we actually
terrible.
did when we first started hanging out, and was like, "Yo, like, let's get
I was really bad. Like I'm really bad at Fortnite, but Josiah is terrible. He's so bad.
One of the great things about listening to you guys, and if correct me if I'm wrong, is that you all seem to like have a lot of fun with each other and seem to care about each other a lot. After all these years of working together, what do you think is like an important thing you guys have learned from each other? It doesn't have to be musical, just life wise.
Um,
How to kiss your friends.
I think, yeah, we love playing with each other and having, no, I mean, we love, like, I don't know. I think without all the joking around and having fun, everything, it just wouldn't be as, the music I know wouldn't be as good for a fact, because there was a time where there wasn't as much of that, and the music was not, we were not prevailing music wise. I think we need to be like, we need to have fun to make good music, and sometimes it bites us in the ass because we'll go to rehearsal and not do anything, and we'll just goof around. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it is extremely important to, and I'm very glad that like the four of us can just like fuck around and like do nothing and be entertained by each other, because also if we couldn't, tour would be awful.
Oh yeah,
Tour would be bad. Tour
it'd
is
be terrible.
tour, but tour is crazy. It's that band is, it wasn't as crazy this last time. The first time we went on tour, it was like, it was bad, but that was because we were gone for a month. um but yeah.
What would be the best piece of advice you guys have for aspiring up and coming musicians?
Man, that's a good question that I feel like we've been asked, and I always have a bad answer for.
Be yourself.
Yeah,
um
but also try and be everyone else.
I think be yourself, but if people really don't like it, then just be somebody else.
Don't do that. Just be true to yourself. But the biggest advice I could give is about songwriting, and songwriting is one of the most important parts to making music. Um, there's a wall. When you start songwriting, you're not going to make an amazing song. It's very, I mean, you probably could, but it's very unrealistic. And to get your expectations up like that can be super devastating to your mental health, to how you grow as a musician. You just have to you have to dig through. Like you cannot give up before you start, because songwriting is a practice. The first song you make is the one of millions that you're going to make. It's like you don't just do one bench press at the gym and then get abs like immediately. It doesn't just pop on your body. You have to train your brain like a muscle, you
Yeah.
know. And the biggest thing that people tell me when they're writing songs is like, oh, like I can't do it because I can't write songs, like I'm just terrible at it, when they've only written like two songs, and they don't write any other songs because they're too afraid to try. But to write songs, you have to be open to that vulnerability, at least with yourself. You don't even have to release it. You don't have to release it. You don't have to perform it. But songwriting is always a good practice, even just for yourself. And the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. Just
Yeah,
comes
I
with
think
time.
a lot of people are just under the impression that writing just like is like a gene, and it's
Hmm.
just like, well, you either have it or you don't.
No,
But
it's
it,
totally
you
by
know,
chance.
there's nothing else that is like that.
Yeah.
So why would writing be like that? That wouldn't make any sense. It's just, it's discouraging, and the only way you learn is by making a bunch of shitty songs and like falling on your face a bunch of times. And that's most of art. Like that's just how you learn. You can't go to school for it. You can't, shit like that. You just have to fail and learn from it.
Mm,
So
That's
it's true.
awesome. Great advice.
Thank you.
Since the holidays are coming up, if Greer were to cover any holiday theme song, doesn't matter what holiday, what song do you guys think it would be?
This is like an inside joke from like 2 years ago.
Paul McCartney one.
No, it was, if you're gonna do the John Lennon one 2 years ago,
Mhm.
because it's a really good song.
War is over. I was just talking about that today.
Yeah, it's like it's like the most amazing Christmas song, and we were gonna cover it because I was super stoked on it, but Like we never wanted to. I don't know if we'll ever cover a Christmas song, but if we do,
I think
maybe
This Is Christmas by RuPaul.
or okay, that would actually be pretty funny. But we would do the Paul McCartney one and make it super scary and messed up and creepy.
I like
Or
it.
just a classic, a classic Christmas song. I don't know.
I'm gonna do some screaming in the background. You're gonna hear. We're gonna record it, and they're gonna be like, "What is that in the background? Why is it weird? Why is it creepy? Why is it messed up?"
I look forward to hearing it one day, hopefully.
Yeah,
You ask that. Why is it creepy? Why is it messed up?
you'll find out in due time. I don't want to explain.
My last question is, what's next for Greer? Do you have any big goals for the future? Well, I know you do, but
TV show.
TV show,
World peace,
world peace.
Probably an album.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
new
definitely
iPhone.
definitely an album and definitely a tour. If the tour is after the album, before the album, I don't know. We don't know. I don't know.
Tours upon tours. We want tour after tour after tour.
Tours,
a bunch
tour
of them.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, you'll have to come to Boston.
We did.
Yes.
Did you go to Boston last time?
We did go to Boston with the Regrets. It's an awesome place. I like that venue. Huh?
Where did we play there?
I don't remember.
I can't.
I don't remember a lot of the venues we played on that tour.
It was fun.
But it was a good tour. Yeah, that was a good show.
I'd love to go back to Boston.
Tours and albums and friends along the way.
Park the car.
Yep, park the car. Hear it all the time. So that was my last question. Do you guys have any like closing remarks that you want to say to the people?
Number one.
Under the gun.
Yeah.
Always have fun. Yeah, okay.
Always have fun under the sun. I don't know. But the EP is out and
Be good to each other.
Yeah, be good to each other. If you'd like to go ahead and listen to the EP, we are very proud of it. And thank you, Sophie, for interviewing us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. This was an awesome interview. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. And make sure to stream Happy People.